I rock a dad bod. Drop my Hellcat like it's NASCAR. Barbecuing in my backyard. Gotta love it on my dad bod.
Hey, welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, K-Fel. This, of course, the theme song is Dad Bod from Jamie Mines, who is available all over the place where you download your music, iTunes, Spotify. He is a great rapper out of Calgary, Alberta. He's also known to the Calgary Flames faithful as Trumpet Guy. So as you can tell by the graphic, the Sleeman Cup is here. The inaugural season is ready for a close as Tillsonburg visits Elora for Game 1, and that, of course, will take place next week. So the Sleeman Cup gets underway next weekend. But how did we get here? Well, Colin Dunn's goals against average probably had something to do with it. A 2.0 so far throughout the playoffs and a .938 save percentage to boot. He's not an easy guy to score on. As for points, Ray Robbins from the Stratford Fighting Irish still leading the way. Of course, the Irish were eliminated this weekend. We'll get to that series in a little bit. Alex Utley has a chance to put more goals into the goal column as he will be in the finals starting next week. Let's take a look at how the games went with a couple of highlight packs. First, it's Tillsonburg and the Strathroy Jets. This will be Game 3 and 4. Let's start it with Game 3. That was Game 3. There's the highlights. A 3-2 win by the Tillsonburg Thunder in Strathroy. Now, how do the Jets react to trying to stave off elimination? How do the Thunder put the hammer down? We're going to find out right now as we head to Tillsonburg and see how that game went. Dreaded game number 4 as the Strathroy Jets face elimination. Well, bingo bango, Matt Weston gets the overtime winner to punch the Thunder's ticket to the inaugural Sleeman Cup Finals. There was still a series. It was also tied 2-0 on this weekend. So we've got the first game for you. Unfortunately, there was an absolute beauty of a game in Stratford on the Saturday. There was issues with a website and it did not save the broadcast. And that's sad news because it was an amazing game. It was a beauty of a game. But we will let you know that The Rocks are on their way to the finals. Here's the game from Elora against Stratford. So there's the 8-1 win by the Elora Rocks as they hosted the Stratford Fighting Irish. They took it back to the Stratford Arena, the William Allman Arena, the official name. Unfortunately, though, there is no highlights from a game that was an absolute beauty. There was a couple of tilts in it. There was high emotions going, but the Elora Rock ended up walking away with a 4-3 win. So the finals are set. They're ready to go. It's the Tillsonburg Thunder taking on the Elora Rocks. And we've got a very special interview about the final that's coming up. We're going to talk to Scott Stafford. He's got an amazing hockey story. We're going to chat about that. We're going to chat about how he's a player coach and how that works. He's a Reggie Dunlop. How cool is that? Scott Stafford now. Let's get to the interview. It's after the logo. On the podcast with me tonight is the Reggie Dunlop of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League. He is a player, assistant coach. Scott Stafford, thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, my pleasure, Kevin. Thanks for what you've been doing for the league. It's been some great stuff.
It's been a lot of fun, Scott, and you've got to be having a lot of fun right now. You're getting ready for the first ever Sleeman Cup final.
Absolutely. It's an exciting time for our team in Tillsonburg and the league, and really looking forward to this final series in the month of April here.
Scott, before we get into the finals and what you guys have to do, how is it as being a player assistant coach? Like, you're a player, but you're a coach. Like, how does that work?
So it's an interesting dynamic this year. Having Max Partlow, who's a super guy, come on's made it a little bit easier in the coaching aspect. But in terms of being a player coach, there is kind of a unique dynamic of wanting to still play your game, but also make decisions that are best for the team. And unfortunately, being in a dressing room with 19 other guys, there can only be 5 guys on the ice. So there is some times when maybe certain guys don't agree with you, but if you're up front and that's all you can kind of be, is up front with all the players and state why you're doing what in terms of players and situations, and charge on. So this year I've just been more of a kind of background guy, just kind of giving Hutch and Coach Max my opinions on some lineups and some players and let them roll with it. So.
Well, it's just cool that you can do that. I always think back, and I always, of course, I refer to the Reggie Dunlop thing, but I always go, man, it must be hard to be, because you're one of the boys, right? And then you're also a coach. Are you at a different level with the boys? Like, are they like, oh, he's a coach, or are you equal with them?
No, I'm one of the boys. So especially this year with Coach Maxey coming on, I've been able to just be more of a player per se and just give kind of my opinions when asked upon. But 2 years ago when we were in the WOAA, it was kind of just Hutch and myself, and it was a little bit more hands-on in terms of the coaching component, Kevin. So this year's been great for me. It's been just more of a player aspect with giving my input.
One more question about it. If there's a drill you don't want to do, can you back away and say, I'm doing coaching stuff right now?
No, I'm one of the older guys on the team, and believe me, I need every single drill that the coaching staff does. So, mind you, having said that, if we're low on numbers and Hutch and Maxie might just say, hey, staff, you go do some skills drills or skating drills or whatever you and the boys are kind of wanting to do before getting prepared for games. So that's been great.
Perfect, Scott. So you're going into the finals. You're against a hard team to play against, the Elora Rocks. First of all, you guys kind of came in, you finished in third, and then you swept the Jets. You had a bit of an interesting year. You started off hot, and then things kind of happened, and you went down a little bit in the standings.
Yeah, and that's just part of senior hockey in terms of guys with families and jobs and other commitments. Credit to Strathroy and Elora especially, who traveled really well on the road. Unfortunately, with some injuries and with other commitments, we maybe didn't have the best lineup we wanted throughout the regular season, Kevin. But credit to Bill Ryan, the coaching staff, and then Tim Porter really did a good job of finding some high-end skilled players to come in just before the deadline in the new year to help kind of bolster our roster.
So you're going in against Elora. They have the best goalie right now in the league, and Colin Dunn's been really good throughout the regular season as well. What do you have to do to get a puck by him? Is it just bodies in front of the net? If he can't see it, he can't save it?
For sure. More or less, whenever you're playing a good goalie, you got to make it tough on him, trying to get bodies in front, get them moving laterally side to side, and make them work as much as they can in a full 60 minutes. I really like the way we played against Strathroy, and hopefully we can continue that going into.
And what do you have to take from the Strathroy series to carry it into the finals?
I think we can take a lot of the way we played in terms of defense, played really steady, and our forward group, especially the line, the pattern with Salty, Westy, and Brownie, really stepped up. So I think if we play the way we did the past 4 games, but especially Ken, then it'll be some really good hockey against Elora.
So you're a bit of a local hockey celebrity there. You've been on Sportsnet. You've had a story featured you there. I thought maybe we could go down your hockey road a little bit, because it hasn't been normal for most. It's been quite the interesting road for you. Absolutely, yeah. So again, you with one hand, umbilical cord wrapped around that burst. So it's all I've ever known. And being a local Canadian kid in Southwestern Ontario, wanted to be like every other kid and play hockey. And my parents wanted me to have the same bumps and bruises and grow up like every other kid and having the same opportunities, and figured out a way to hold my stick, and understood at an early age that because I didn't have the same upper body strength as fully able-bodied or two-handed hockey players, I'd have to really focus on my power skating and be a strong skater to kind of compensate for lack of upper body strength. Well, you're mentioning, you lost the hand at when you were born, but it's amazing, first of all, that you played hockey to begin with everything that you had to overcome. But the fact of the matter is you went and played pro as well is just mind-blowing. Like, that's just outstanding. So, yeah, what a cool and amazing experience that was. My kind of whole hockey goal when I was playing minor hockey was to play junior B, and then just as most players do, and I know everyone in this league does, or they wouldn't still be playing, love hockey and the team camaraderie, and just kept working hard and developing my game, Kevin, and was fortunate at the situation came up to go over to play in Europe, and played in Germany for a couple months and just had an amazing experience. So tell me about playing pro in Germany. That must have been something. It was extremely cool. So I was in the Oberliga, which is the 3rd league in Germany, and shared a flat with another guy from Burlington, and really, really cool. The fans were amazing, very soccer-like or football-like over there, atmosphere where they're jumping up and down and faces painted and really cool. So actually a funny little story that I was telling to one of the guys in the Blue Line Club this past weekend was when I get over there, unfortunately, one of the roommates couldn't drive because he'd had an incident the weekend before, and he got off the plane, goes, Staffy, here's the car keys.
and got in there, and it was a manual. So you can imagine with one hand, it wasn't the best situation driving over in Germany. So thankfully the team had another car they could swap out that was automatic, but that was pretty funny. I said, I don't think I should be driving a stick shift with one hand over here in a new country on the Autobahn. So
that is pretty awesome, actually. It's very funny. Did you have a hard time with the language gap over there? But you mentioned you were a flatmate with a Canadian, so it must have been all right. Could he speak German?
He could speak, yes. So he could speak some German, Kevin, as well as, oddly enough, in the league I was in, there were only allowed two import players, so two non-German national players. So all the Germans wanted to practice their English, so they all wanted to speak English when we were in the room. So if I'd have been over there longer, I'm assuming I'd have learned German a lot better. But I was pretty much speaking English the whole time I was over there, to be honest with you.
That's actually great for you, right?
Yeah, it made things easy in the room when whether we'd be down or up, and it'd be tough to understand what the coaches were saying. But there was a couple German guys that when the coach got upset in Germany, kind of give us the nod what was going on. But it's the hockey language is universal. So when the team wasn't playing well, it was clear what was being said, even though I couldn't understand German.
I also read you have a great sense of humor about yourself. I read a story that you were having an issue getting into a penalty box as a kid, and the penalty box attendant offered a hand, and you took your glove off and said, "I wish you could."
Absolutely.
Something along those lines, right? Like that's just a wonderful way to roll.
Yeah, and as a young kid, I mean, especially people who aren't exposed to maybe whether they're, and I don't look at myself as disabled, but I know I'm an amputee, whether it be physical, mental, whatever challenges someone else has, especially as kids when they're maybe not exposed to it. I always found that me being comfortable and cracking jokes and just being myself kind of made people maybe a little bit more comfortable or at ease around me, not knowing how I might react in certain situations, Kevin. So I'd like to think in the room I keep things loose and have lots of fun. So I definitely like saying some jokes.
So how, like, if you don't mind me asking, do you wear a glove and hold the stick, or like if that's okay to ask? Like, I'm not.
Oh yeah, no, shoot away. So how I kind of figured out is like my left arm's just at my wrist, so I tape my jersey around my arm or stump, and then it's not attached or anything. And then I wear a slash guard over top of that, Kevin. So there's nothing attached in terms of a prosthetic or anything at the top of my stick. I just kind of slide the top of my stick around my left forearm to give me support. And then that way I can transfer my stick, whether I need one hand on the stick or when I'm shooting, kind of support and lock and load with my top arm.
Do you have a goal in mind that is the most memorable you've ever scored?
Oh, a couple goals when I was playing junior in overtime, and I wouldn't say no, not really. So anytime you can score an overtime winner and have the boys celebrate with you, which happened a couple of times in junior, those are lots of fun.
Well, fantastic, Scott. I wish you and the Tillsonburg Thunder all the luck coming up in the Sleeman Cup. Good luck the rest of the way. And thank you so much for joining me. It's wonderful to talk to you.
Hey, awesome. Thanks for your work for the league, Kevin, and hopefully see you around the rink in the month of April in the finals.
Well, what a great interview. That was Scott Stafford, the player coach, the Reggie Dunlop of the Western Ontario Super Hockey League, joining me from the Tillsonburg Thunder to chat about his thoughts on the finals, the first ever quest for the Sleeman Cup, if you will. He is in the finals. He'll be taking on Elora. First game goes on April 1st. No fooling. See what I did there? Game 2 goes April 2nd next week. We'll have a couple of wrap-up interviews with a few teams that are no longer playing. We'll chat then. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting the finals underway. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, the theme song, Jamie Mines, available on iTunes and Spotify. Have a great week. Thanks for tuning in.
Rock a dad bod, drop my Hellcat like it's NASCAR. It's NASCAR.